Hi guys, I think a big blind spot within the EU, perhaps with some bureaucrats within the European Commission, is that they believed that the UK would be an honest partner, that they would actually implement what they agreed they would implement when it came to, for example, the withdrawal agreement and the Northern Ireland Protocol in particular. Britain, with Brexiteers in charge, Britain was not a reasonable partner, and it played political games throughout this saga. Now, Rishi Sunak perhaps is going in a different direction than what Boris Johnson and Liz Truss was doing when it came to the Northern Ireland Protocol, and he's actually going to implement what was actually agreed. Now, this tweet from Tony Connolly from RTE News is Irish media. He says, the EU will accept the principle that UK goods shipped to Northern Ireland and staying there will be treated differently to goods moving south into the single market, and as such will agree to a green and red lane model at ports as proposed by the UK, a senior EU official tells RTE News. So I'm going to get to what this is in a bit more detail, but we've seen this before. The EU proposed something, the UK rejected, the UK proposed exactly the same thing, and then the EU say, yeah, okay, we'll go with that. And what it does is it's presented in the British media as a UK win. And I've said before, the EU don't care about this politically, how it's sold in Britain. They want the work done and are happy to allow Brexiteers or allow the British government to claim some sort of victory here. Anyway, it goes on to say in the rest of his tweet, and I'll leave a link to it so you can read it. It's quite long, but I just want to read the first two parts. Significantly, the green and red lanes at Northern Ireland ports will govern both animal health and food safety issues as well as customs formalities. It will be across the board, said the EU official. Such an acceptance will increase the chances that EU and UK negotiators will reach agreement on the Northern Ireland Protocol. The handling of so-called sanitary and phytosanitary issues has always been one of the most difficult throughout the negotiations. So these are checks that have to be carried out. The UK government agreed to it as part of the withdrawal agreement, part of the Northern Ireland Protocol. They decided we're not actually going to carry out these checks. We're not going to update the EU with the data, with live data, stuff like that. And for months, this went back and forth. The EU saying, you have to do this. You agreed to do this. The UK saying, no, we're not going to do it. Because sovereignty, because Northern Ireland is being taken away from the United Kingdom, stuff like this. That's what they would say to the media, but in the House of Commons, they'd, of course, admit that Northern Ireland is still part of the United Kingdom. But this was a political game. And what I'm talking about when it was proposed before by the EU is completely true. You can see here from the 13th of October 2021, Protocol on Ireland, Northern Ireland, Commission proposes bespoke arrangements to benefit Northern Ireland. And the point that it was raised by Tony Connolly here before in his tweet this month, number 2, flexible customs formalities to facilitate the movement of goods from Great Britain to Northern Ireland, 50% reduction in paperwork. Excuse me. The solution consists of measures that will simplify and make customs formalities and processes easier. It will cut in half the documentation currently needed for goods moving from Great Britain to Northern Ireland. This is also subject to safeguards such as the UK committing to providing full real-time access to IT systems, which was actually just been implemented recently. Now, this is from 2021, okay? The UK is just implementing these IT systems in this period. A review and termination clause, as well as UK Customs and Markets surveillance authorities implementing appropriate monitoring and enforcement measures. When taken together, the bespoke solutions on both SPS, as we saw before, and customs rules will create a type of express lane for movement of goods from Great Britain to Northern Ireland, while at the same providing for a robust monitoring and enforcement mechanism in order to protect the integrity of the single market. And if we go back to this, the UK proposes a green lane and a red lane model at ports. So, as I said, the EU says you need to implement this. The UK doesn't implement it. The EU says, okay, let's make some changes to help you implement it. The UK rejected these Commission proposals were rejected back in 2021 by the UK government. Then they were proposed again by Liz Truss. The EU said, let's have a think about it. And now the EU has turned around and said, yeah, okay, we'll implement that. And this, of course, will be sold to the British people, to the people in Northern Ireland, as a victory over the EU by the UK government. And as I've said, the EU is happy to say, yeah, sure, you won this one. They care about getting this implemented. They care about getting this resolved. There is no reason why this problem should exist. The EU signed up to the withdrawal agreement, the Northern Ireland Protocol. The UK signed up to both of those as well. And there's no reason why it can't be implemented. It was used as a political football by Brexiteers under Boris Johnson, under Liz Truss. And hopefully, now that Rishi Sunak is the sort of adult in the room, I hate to use that term, but much more intelligent, much more pragmatic than the other two, hopefully he's going to actually implement this. Now, the last question, of course, the ultimate question is, will the DUP accept this? Well, that remains to be seen. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.